This is a football show. We've got a lot of football to talk about, but there is a lot going on in your department and on campus.
Yeah, there's a lot of construction. The facilities are starting to pop up. Not necessarily new ones, but I'm just really excited by the fact that our coaches and our players, they're just knocking on my door and pulling on my sleeve. They want to improve their facilities. They want to improve their chances of winning championships and going deep into the playoffs. So right now, baseball, softball, the swimming pool, volleyball, football, expanded weight room and training area, and probably a few more. New turf on the indoor practice facility. Right. And as you go around campus right now, basketball practice facility completed. These players and coaches are excited. They're engaged, and every one of them, I see them right now on campus, and they want to go year round. And we have the facilities now. Our fans, Cougar Nation, all our donors, they've stepped up to the plate in a big way and have allowed us to really engage and hang with those P5s.
Has the state of the program ever been stronger?
You know, I don't really know that. I think we look back and we have a great foundation through most of the sports, and it's a great tradition. And our responsibility right now is to build on that tradition. All our players and coaches, they understand the responsibility. They come to BYU to do that. And so I'm excited that for someone who had a chance to play and coach here, I get to still be here and be part of it. And I think that's why Cougar Nation likes it, because they all feel part of it.
All right, let's get to some of the announcements of the day. And let's begin with your television partner, ESPN.
Sure. Well, ESPN, we have a great relationship with them. They were the one, obviously, that broadcast BYU versus Pitt, the first live college TV football game on ESPN. And the thing I like about ESPN, they honor that. They understand that even though all those people back then are gone, it's the tradition of ESPN and BYU that's something. So one of the things that they did just a couple days ago is they played out their option, meaning that for 2019, they had an option year and they took it. So we have one more year with ESPN, 2019. Gives us a couple more years to consider the future, but it's great to be back with ESPN for at least one more year.
So this was a situation, and this year we've heard a lot about ESPN cutting staff and changing this, and they had their option to get out, and they have decided, they call you and they say, we want to stay in. What does that say to BYU?
Well, I think to our fans, it answers a lot of questions. Yeah. With all the rumors and innuendos about ESPN and their future, they're strong. They'll figure something out for sure. But every recruit and most of the colleges, they want to be on ESPN. And that's where we've always played. It's where we built our name, our brand, and ESPN's helped us along the way. They put us on TV every week. It's something really special, and I'm glad we're staying with them.
We welcome those watching on ESPN3 and listening in on BYU Radio, as well as to see the national TV games as compared to other schools out here in the West. This extension, or the 3 years now that you have with UNLV, that third year is the same as this year and next year as far as how many games they'll do. The parameters haven't changed.
Right. Everything remains exactly, but they took that option to take us for another year.
In that contract, is it written in that they will put you in a bowl game?
Absolutely. And when we became independent, one of the big questions was going to be, how are you going to play in a bowl game if you're not affiliated with a conference?
Right.
And they assured us, through contractually, that they would get us a game. So it was interesting, the first year of independence, we slotted out a number of games, and it went up until 2016. And then there was one opening from the very beginning for 17. And as we've talked about that, I've kind of just seen it out in the past and wondered, what are we going to do when that year comes?
Right.
And in talking with ESPN, one of the things that we've been thinking about for a couple of years is the conferences, the P5 conferences right now, they have affiliations with bowl games. So you take maybe like the ACC or the Big Ten, and they might have contracts with 6, 7, or 8 games.
Right.
And they can't always fulfill those games. And when they can't, they become available. And that's where ESPN, talking in 17, we're almost like a free agent or a little maverick, and they can use us and put us really anywhere they want. Some of those games could be really good games. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity. But regardless, we get bowl eligible, we'll be in a game with ESPN.
When do you think you'll have an idea of what those options might be now that we start the season here in 2 months?
Well, we'll be thinking about it for the
first game. We start with the Rose Bowl and you just move down?
I think hope springs eternal. We always feel good about where we are. That's one of the things that leads into great debate and discussion.
Right.
But I think one of the things about that is determining how well we play, and our record and ranking will probably slot us in a bowl like that.
Next year, 2018, same thing. Contractually, you get bowl eligible, they'll put you in a bowl.
We were scheduled to play in Poinsettia
Right.
Bowl, and then Poinsettia dropped out. So that'll be a similar situation. But that might be a little bit different from this year, because this year is contracted as open all the way.
So 3 years remaining with ESPN, and I know from what we've talked about, discussions underway for a long-term arrangement.
Yes, we've talked about extending, and we could extend before that, but there's a period of time now where we can research and talk to ESPN and talk about terms, and we're really good friends with them. We know the people. I think that it's just not ESPN and BYU, it's the people at ESPN and the people at BYU. And we have a great relationship with them.
Lavelle Edwards has been here every year. That we've had this our 7th year for Media Day. Past this last year, there's a patch on your left shoulder, on your polo shirt. But this team will remember him this fall. How will they show that?
Well, we're all going to remember him forever.
Sure.
But the patch with Lavelle was an idea with Kalani and me to be able to come back and just show the country every game on TV, have people remember, talk about it. Not everybody knows Lavelle like we know Lavelle, but we certainly want to pay tribute to Lavelle. We want to honor Lavelle for the man he was, for the coach he was, for the love he gave us, and everyone in the football program right now, and most people that are Cougar fans, they'll follow Lavelle's example. He was a tremendous man, and he'll live with us forever.
That patch will be on all the football jerseys, whether it's Royal, Navy,
yeah,
the white.
I don't think we have different patches per color, but we'll have Lavelle in that iconic look all the time with us.
Oh, that'll be spectacular. As for the colors, there's a little buzz about we're all in Royal today, but there is a color pattern at BYU that's going to stay that way, right? There's Navy, there's white, and there's Royal. Occasionally there's black.
That's a good way of putting it. I think that I've talked about this a lot. Long ago and far away, it wasn't Royal. It was some other shade. But I think a lot of people realize that the Royal was kind of the standard when Lavelle and the crew started winning a bunch of games and championships. So a lot of people have that, close to their heart, that Royal is the color. But things change through the years, and Navy is a big solid part of the university and also some of our sport teams. You'll see some of our great moments in BYU sports were done in Navy.
We just watched one of them, the Holiday Bowl against Michigan.
Sure. So when you think about it right now, we're going to take the best of all worlds. We'll try to not make it a kaleidoscope of colors. Some of our coaches have some wild ideas, but we'll try to keep them strict to the color palette.
All right. Another special announcement today involves the number 6 and 3 very special Cougars. This fall, BYU will honor quarterback Mark Wilson, who among many things led the Cougars to an 11-1 season in 1979. Quarterback Robbie Bosco, who helped deliver the Cougars' first football national championship in 1984 with a 13-0 record. There's Wilson diving into the end zone. Here comes Bosco. This pass was big against Pittsburgh, which started it all that year. Started it for ESPN and started it for BYU on that undefeated championship season. And then, of course, the battering ram, Luke Staley, who won the 2001 Doak Walker Award as the best running back in college football. All 3 will have their number 6 retired at Lavelle Edwards Stadium.
And rightfully so. These are legends of BYU football. And in any great program, whatever level it might be, college or pro, everybody has their core players, and they're so valuable to the team. But you make a name for yourself, you win championships, and you become something special with your special players. And we are fortunate at BYU to have a number of really true blue, iconic BYU players. And these are 3 guys to have your number retired. You have to be a graduate of BYU.
Right.
You have to have won a major award in college football, and you have to be a good citizen. Show that you're a Coug all through and through. And these guys are 3 guys that amplify that for sure. And it's just been a matter of time to be able to spread it out a little bit. And now they're here, and I couldn't be happier for these 3.
And it's a 3-for-1, which you don't often see at university. You have 3 great players all in one jersey there that you get a...
It's a little bit different because I think some programs have this tradition that started way, way back, and they've always maintained it. But At BYU, they didn't really do that.
Right.
Eldon Fortai, the great number 40, was retired, but I don't think a lot of people really knew that. And then Marion Probert was another player who had passed away in that accident in the plane crash and had contributed so much to the program. But when we came back and decided that we're going to honor these Cougar greats, we already had a bunch of them lined up. You know, you had 2 14s, sure. Ty Detmer and Giff Nielsen.
Right.
And now you have Robbie and Luke and Mark, who wore number 6.
You have to send a note to the football office. I guess Trey Dye is going to have to find another number for
We've already talked
day.
about that.
Already worked that out. What game will you do this?
We're going to do this at the Wisconsin game.
Perfect.
We feel that it should be a big game. We want a full house. We want our students to be there because even though our students never saw these guys play, they know it. I remember when we retired Jim's number, McMahon, the most excited people in the stadium were our students. This is their school. And they take this is incredible pride in those players that from past years made it BYU. It's a cool thing.
You'll be back with us this afternoon as we honor Coach Edwards with his coaching tree that show the genealogy of all the coaches that have come from him, including yourself. What will that hour mean to you?
Oh, man, it's going to be really special. I think that a lot of people realize what Lavelle did locally, but I think when you take a look at the coaching tree, you realize that his influence is not just in the Wasatch Front or in Utah or necessarily maybe with the LDS Church, but it spreads all across the country because the players and coaches, particularly the coaches today, that coach for him now take that method, his personality, the love that he had for his players, and they pollinate the whole country. And when you look at that tree, you're going to see players that are now playing that have the influence of Lavelle with them.
We look forward to that. Thank you, Tom.
Fantastic.
We'll see you this afternoon. Athletic Director Tom Holmoe. Next, we're going to hear from all 3, Mark Wilson, Robbie Bosco, and Luke Staley, on their jersey retirements set for the Wisconsin game, on their BYU careers, and on the coach that brought them here to Provo, and Coach Sataki a bit later on as we continue on BYU TV.